Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 181 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as we watched or played over the week. My name's Barry, accompanied with my two Spider-Men.
Oh,
Ooh. I guess for the
all
moment
right.
then my name is Baja Craig, supporting Baja Blast. This is not a plug. We are not sponsored.
And my name is also Craig. We'll go with G Fuel Craig tonight. Barry, what are you drinking?
I don't have anything to drink.
Dang it.
That's a superpower.
Yep. I don't know how you do it.
You guys know me. I usually have something to drink, but
You
I
do.
I got back home from work 10 minutes ago, so that's
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I am here, nonetheless. And what's always here is the news. No matter where any of us are, the news is always with us. And I guess I'll continue with the Spider-Man theme, in that Insomniac has announced that Spider-Man 2 is the fastest-selling PlayStation Studios game, selling over 2.5 million in 24 hours. Uh,
Not
I
bad.
have put in 2 copies of that 24 million. That's or sorry, 2.5 million. Which is more than I should have had to buy. But
Now,
here we are.
clarify, you put in 1 copy and 19 inches of Venom as well.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
This podcast has a combined 38 inches of Venom.
That's a lot of venom.
It's a lot of Venom.
That's a
It's
lot of
more
venom.
more Venom than anyone needs.
Yeah.
I feel like every time a first party Sony game comes out, it's always the fastest selling and it just keeps building. Am I wrong? It just feels like every time Horizon was.
Mhm.
Recently, I definitely say that, but I think
Mhm.
like Marvel, Spider-Man, like
Yeah.
it's. I think this one will probably stand for a little while.
It
I think
will.
you'd be hard pressed that whatever God of War or whatever like Horizon game is supposed to come out next would beat this because it's Spider-Man. And 24 hours, 2.5 million, that's good for 24 hours. And
Yes, that's nothing to sneeze at.
yeah,
Nothing to
and,
sneeze at
and
No.
there.
Sony is swimming in it. They're probably very happy with how everything goes. And we'll see and get our feelings on the games when we get to game section.
Most definitely.
This weekend in Las Vegas, PlayStation and Xbox were battling over the Sphere. If people are aware of it, it is a concert arena that kind of has outdoor LEDs all over it. So a lot of companies are promoting stuff on there. On Tuesday, I think it was last Tuesday, I should say. Xbox kind of had their logo come up on it. It was actually pretty cool. I like the look of it, just because
Mhm.
Xbox has always been like a kind of a ball with an X stretched over it.
Yep.
I thought it looked pretty cool. And then on the release of Spider-Man 2, we got the Sony Studios logo, and then kind of this one was weird. It was just like first it was Peter Parker, and he like looks around for a little bit, and then it's Miles Morales looking around for a little bit as well. It's kind of like a weird ad, but at this point, like I feel like everybody just records everything that goes on the Sphere, so it's kind of like free
Mhm.
advertisement, I guess.
Yeah.
At that point, and it usually gets pretty viral. So
I really
both
want them to do those like orchestra with gaming concerts in there
Oh
so they
my
can
god,
play
yeah.
the gaming stuff all around you. Like that would be so cool.
yeah,
That would be
that would look pretty cool.
that would be amazing.
And then lastly for me for news, and this one, let me tell you, like I find some weird stuff when I'm perusing for stuff. Um, we have a Dragon Force, the band. Everyone knows Dragon Force from Through Fire and the Flames. Released a song about the Legend of Zelda called "The Power of the Triforce."
Okay.
Um,
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys are Dragon Force fans. I guess a quick song review of a portion of the podcast. I don't think this is a bot.
Okay.
Um, it is
Doesn't slap.
definitely really strange. Uh, I don't know how they got away with singing about Zelda and then like Nintendo allowing it because they mentioned like the Master Sword and it does not look anything like the Master Sword. They mentioned like Ganon and Ganon is nothing like Ganon looks nothing like Ganon. Um, yeah, the guitar solos are pretty cool. You know that's what Dragon Force is known for. But I'll be honest, like that was very interesting song to listen to this morning. I'm not sure I was ready for it, and I don't know if the world is ready for it either. So just keep that in mind as you guys continue to. Maybe if you guys listen to it, maybe you guys will think it's a bop. Everybody's music taste is different.
I don't
Yes.
I don't know
Go
that
ahead.
I would consider their songs bops for me. I still feel like they got kind of popular off of the Guitar Hero thing, where it was like, oh my god, this is such a hard song to play. People who could beat it, you were like a Guitar Hero god. I don't think I ever beat it to this day, but that's, I mean, cool, I guess. If they're making songs about Zelda, I mean, that's fun.
Yeah, but they got to get it right with the
Yeah,
nerd stuff in order for it to be considered at least worthy of a bop, or maybe bop consideration, if I
bop
may.
consideration. True.
But yeah, no, that's all I have for news. That's now it's up to you
Okay.
guys.
I got a few here. We got a date for the Amazon Prime Fallout TV show today. April 12th, 2024.
Okay.
All we got was a date. It was just kind of like we got an image of Pip Boy and then the date. I still don't know how I feel about this. Like, do you go after Fallout 3? Do you go after Fallout 4? Do you just don't go after any of them and just keep it in the universe? Like, what do you do with this?
Well, like, here's my question to the two of you who have played more Fallout than I. Like, what would you be more nervous about with a show? Besides that, would you be nervous about them just nailing Fallout in general, or like what route they decide to take, or if they blend them weird, or
It's
like,
pretty generic concept, right? Just
Yeah,
nuclear fallout.
absolutely.
It could be like a Walking Dead show, really. I personally would like to see them do Fallout 4. I was
mm,
talking earlier today about with some friends, and we thought that Fallout 4, if you played that game at all, the opening with the guy coming to your front door with the briefcase, like that would be a cool opening for the TV show, I think. I'm like
okay.
mildly interested in this show.
I feel like I would watch it. And again, as
Yeah,
the person who played Fallout the least here, I'd be interested to see what the take is on it. This is like, I got 4 hours in New Vegas. That's it. Like, that's as
fair.
far as my Fallout experience is. I just never really branched out after that. So I think even with that, I would be interested.
Yeah, for sure.
I was
I'm gonna
gonna say
say,
just
go ahead.
on my end about Fallout. Like I think it could work. Like it is a pretty generic concept.
Hmm.
I think you could almost spend like an entire first season like developing like the vault and the people in the vault.
Yeah,
I know usually at the end it's just you that just leaves the vault and everyone else stays in there. But then you could end the first season by the vault opening and then
that'd be
going from
cool.
there. That way you at least build characters inside the vault so you've got people you care about rather
Hmm.
than for the most part like in the vault you kind of just speed run through that and then get to the open world as soon as possible.
Yep.
So maybe take a little bit of a different approach as to the people like you learn to, I guess, like learn about and maybe begin to care about as well.
I like that idea a lot, actually. The whole first season being in the vault, that would be sweet. Might be a little claustrophobic, but I think it would work.
If you
Hey,
have some good actors to carry it, I think it could.
Yeah.
and hey, Walking Dead did an entire season on the farm,
Yeah,
like
true.
just an entire season in one location. So it can be done.
Hmm. Yeah. Also in the movie, I will say, well, yeah, I have two more movie things, so we'll go off that. We got the trailer for the Silent Hill Ascension, whatever the hell that is thing, and I still don't know what it is.
I know.
It doesn't look good though. I'll throw that out there. Did you watch it, Craig?
I did.
It
I don't know
what?
what's going on. I don't know what's going
Craig,
on.
did you watch it? The
No.
trailer? I s- I don't understand what it looked like. Like the Resident Evil CGI movies that have come out
Oh yeah.
recently. That's what it reminded me of, like that style of CGI animated movie. I don't know. what what are they doing?
I think what they're doing is they're getting their probably worst Silent Hill adaptation out early, so they could.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing. I don't know. I don't understand the algorithm, but like, get it out, and then
yeah,
Yeah.
they just don't know they're doing that yet
true.
until they get the reviews.
Um, the other movie related thing, this one I'm super pumped for. I'm a big fan of Fast and Furious. Obviously, everybody knows that by now. Everybody knows who Han is from Fast and Furious. He's going to direct a live action Initial D movie, and I am so excited. Um, I love I may surprise people, but I love that anime. And I think he is the perfect person because he loves cars
Yeah.
to direct a movie like that. So like I am like beyond excited for that one.
Do you see Barry's face when you said I love that anime?
I
I was
love
wa-
that
I was
anime.
watching Barry that whole time.
Do you love that anime, Barry?
I like the anime. Yeah, I was just surprised. Like you've never mentioned anything about Initial D, so
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like I cannot picture a better person to direct a movie about it.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, and especially like we do have the issue of like adapting anime into
Sure.
movies. It seems like right now, so I just hope for the most part that um as long as he cares for it, I think he'll do right by it. So
Yep.
Mm.
I'm after your hype for like Gran Turismo, like I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of more interested in these offshoots of not
Yeah.
just like the same Fast and Furious racing movie because I feel like Ford versus Ferrari,
Yes.
that movie was like surprisingly I thought was entertaining.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo, I also haven't watched it yet, but it sounds like it's going to be entertaining as well.
Yep.
Let's
Yeah.
like get the next step and like anime and racing, like they're actually surprisingly a couple or a decent amount of those out
Yeah,
there.
and I watched there's a live action one that was made in Japan already of Initial D.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that thing on Netflix too, and I thought it was pretty decent. So yeah, I'm in day one on that one. I'm gonna move on to games news here. I don't know if you guys watched the 30-minute Squadron 42 trailer this week, the single player campaign for Star Citizen. I
No,
could
I
care
did hear
less.
about the news for it, but I didn't realize.
So apparently it's pretty much done at this point, the single player campaign.
Mhm.
I don't care about Star Citizen at all. But this campaign kind of looks pretty cool. And just to like the amount of people who are acting in this single
Mm-hmm.
player campaign is wild. Like I was trying to pull it up and go through, like we have Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Mark Strong. Some of them will be like, you may not know their name, but if you see them, you're immediately going to know who they are. Henry Cavill's in there.
Sick.
Gillian Anderson, Andy Serkis. Like there's
Gillian
just like,
Anderson.
yeah. There's
Wow.
just like tons and tons of people. And it doesn't look half bad. I kind of like scrubbed through the 30-minute trailer. I didn't watch the whole thing, but like,
Yeah.
because at first, like to me, Star Citizen is like a fly your ship around game, right? Is that
To my
correct?
knowledge, yes.
And I was like, all right, yeah. And then so to my surprise, watching it, there's a decent amount of it that's like first person shooter. And I was like, I was unaware Star Citizen was doing a first person shooter as well, but I don't know if I'll actually play it or not, but it looked decent.
I can tell you 2 names that would make me play that are outside of the norm, like
Okay.
not a Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Mark Strong,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. I think he shows up to every acting opportunity that he has. And Gillian Anderson, I'm a big X-Files guy. I grew up watching X-Files in my preteen teens. My dad loved it. So
Yeah.
you throw David Duchovny or Gillian Anderson in something, and I'm down.
Yeah. I don't know. Like this game's been in production for what, over 10 years at this point? I
Yeah, if
think.
it feels like the game's been in production long enough to have 2 PhDs.
Yeah. And I always forget about it. And then I'll hear something about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that game that I never cared about. But I don't know. It gave me a little pause there. Forza news, Forza Motorsport. This one kind of caught my eye because people have been complaining about the AI in Forza Motorsport, saying it's bad. And I didn't realize until I read the articles and watched the videos that it is bad, and I just thought it was them being aggressive. I've been playing a lot of the game, and like I'm always like, man, every time I try to pass an AI, he hits me. And I was like, man, they made him really aggressive. Nope, they're just bad.
Oh, okay.
So people were putting up side by side videos of parking their vehicle sideways in the AI's path, and in Horizon they reroute around. In Motorsport, they just plow right through you. So I don't know where the disconnect was, why they didn't just use the AI from Forza Motorsport. They probably should have. But that's out there, so beware if you're playing it that they do tend to hit you and run you off the road quite a bit. So you have to kind of plan. Like I try not to hit cars when I play Forza Motorsport, but it's like unavoidable. And then Blizzard is giving away a blood infused PC. That's fun. Human blood. Yeah.
Yeah, hell
Really?
yeah. Yeah, you'd think that'd raise some sort of health issue.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
A little
I mean,
bit.
it has been done before. I know Tony Hawk sold some stuff with his blood in it. There's somebody else I'm thinking of as well that put their blood in like a vinyl. There was a band that did it, but this is to promote Diablo, the new season. I don't know if this is the best way to promote that.
I mean, they're trying everything they can with Diablo because, I mean, I'm not a hater of Diablo. I
Me
I
neither.
actually I like it, but I just hear so many people that are like, this isn't either fully Diablo or there's so many better games out. It's also, you know, competing with a lot of games at this point to try to sustain its player base that it developed in early summer.
Right.
So, I guess that's them trying.
Sure. They're partnering with a blood drive at the same time. So that's kind of what they're going
Um,
for. But I want to know whose blood it is and why they're
it,
putting it in a PC. I need to know.
do you get like a card with the person's likes and dislikes and where they are now, like with it, or like
It's
what do you
probably an
get?
animal. I'd have to
They
imagine.
said it's human.
I feel like
They
this is illegal. I feel like there's some stretching around. There's some stretching here that I don't that I think is wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
it must not be if other people have done it before. But yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass.
Well, my thinking is like you could probably make artificial human blood,
You
and
could,
they probably go, okay, it's blood because you technically made it without
right?
needing somebody there, without needing actually someone to bleed out on your,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever. I mean, congrats to whoever wins that thing. I will not be entering that contest to win that.
Or is this the kind of thing where we don't tell our listeners and viewers how to enter that
Yeah.
contest?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where to go for that because that's weird. And then the last thing I have is about Limited Run CEO coming out and saying that he heard Walmart saying they're not going to be carrying video game discs anymore sometime in the near future. So pile that on top of Best Buy not carrying physical movies. Now we got Walmart saying they may not be carrying physical games.
Yeah. The time is upon
Uh-oh.
us. Yeah.
Uh-oh. And then on top of that, whenever, the inevitable foreclosure of GameStop happens, where are you going to go?
There will always be a place, mom and pop, online sort of deal
Amazon.
there.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be a site that crops up from all of this where you can actually go to find this in your area. Did I just give away an idea that we should have been creating? Darn.
No, because vinyl made a big comeback, right?
It did.
I feel like
Huge.
this could be the same thing. I don't know. Just for me, it's just the glass Walmart case is such an iconic part of my childhood and growing up. It'd be sad not to see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. Here's my question. Do we as like physical disc lovers start like I guess the question is, and it's going to be a bad question, so get ready. I guess my question is like when this inevitably goes away, like when do we start looking at our collections for like used discs and start finding value in games we don't play anymore for the highest bidder?
Yeah.
Like, because we're essentially we're collectors without being collectors. We want the physical disc for our own reasons. They're usually not for collection purposes.
True.
We just kind of it's just like a point of having it.
Mhm.
With down the line knowing that you have it, definitely not for monetary profit. So
Right.
I don't know. Where are we at in like 3 years? Are we looking at our collections and saying like, I really don't like I don't know. Or I have Zero Dawn via PlayStation Plus. Do I really need this disc anymore if somebody's trying to buy it for 90 for used? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Just a thought that came to my head.
That copy of Balan Wonderland finally has value.
Yeah, you boys wait for it.
Yes.
You boys wait for it.
Or think about the things that we've bought multiple copies of over the course of like multiple systems.
Yep.
I have more than one Persona 5 Royal now, thanks to my wife getting it, for a Switch for me. So
I will say I have a not an insane amount, but quite a few Xbox and PlayStation games that I never opened that now I look at and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. And if I really want to play it, maybe I do just buy a digital and keep it sealed at this point. Like I have a lot of the Yakuza games for PlayStation sealed. Like, do I just keep them at this
Hmm.
point for
Probably.
value?
Yeah.
Do I send them in to get graded? What do I, like, what do you do at this point? I'm
These are
still
all great
upset I
questions.
can't get Alan Wake 2 physically.
I know.
It hurts me, and that's this week. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sad.
It's
But
sad
that
for us physical collectors.
yeah, we're
Yes.
few and far between now.
Hmm.
Until 10 years from now when people are looking for all those physical copies.
Yes.
And
But
then we
that's all I
laugh
had.
at them.
Yep, I will
And then
give me money.
yes. Um, so for me, I just have a couple. First one is 343 has reportedly begun working on a new campaign for Halo.
Okay.
Which I thought was relatively interesting news, obviously because of the polarizing view towards Halo Infinite. I mean, there's not a lot that's designated about it in terms of like what we know. What we do know is that it will make use of Unreal Engine 5. It'll feature an innovative Forge AI toolkit, and that it's in the works. So, I guess for the people who are still waiting for more Infinite content, I guess that's also good news
Is
because
it
it's a
for Infinite or are we talking like new game?
new
Or they don't
game.
know? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like it's labeled as campaign, but the article I was reading was talking a lot about how Infinite fans should still be excited, even though it's not more Infinite. So
Okay.
I guess we should just keep that in the back of our minds. Will it return to its glory days?
I didn't
I don't
mind
know.
Infinite.
How long has it been since Infinite came out? Now I think about it, it
I'm gonna look
feels
it up.
2
2 years maybe?
I think or
Let
it
me
might be a
see.
year.
Halo
that's got to be
Infinite.
2. It's got to be
Two
2.
it's 2 years.
Is it?
It's 2 years. It's 2 years.
2021, November 15th, 2021.
Okay, well actually so we're almost at the 2-year anniversary
Yep.
of Halo Infinite. I
I
just
like
feel
that game.
as did I. I'm not
Yep.
like I will never get into multiplayer. Multiplayer just
Mm-mm.
isn't for me no matter what. Um
Right.
but I agree. I thought the campaign was fun. I do like the semi-open world for like the sake of driving vehicles and everything like that.
Hmm.
I just the reason I had said that earlier about when it came out because it kind of feels like forever ago.
It does.
It does.
I feel like we were waiting for that game for years, and now it feels like, oh yeah, that game.
That game
How
that
long
came out
ago?
at
Yeah,
one
we
time.
we played that game and had fun and totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um, I have some, I guess it's not terrible news considering some of the news we've covered here in the last like month or two, but Lamplighters League. So Harebrained Schemes is the developer, and they reported an estimated loss of 22.8 million
Oof.
as a result, because apparently, and if I remember this correctly,
This should be
they
good.
put they put 30 mil into making that game, which is not an insane amount of money.
Right.
But if you look at not only the bad reviews, but the lack of concurrent players on Steam, the fact that it's on Game Pass, but like it's not really doing. If anything, it's on Game Pass, so people like Craig and myself who tried it are like, "Yep, nope,
Yep.
I don't like it."
Yep.
So very sad to hear about Harebrained Schemes. Specifically, I just recently went through their Shadowrun series, like last summer, 2 summers ago, whatever it was. So like I just remember them as a developer, so that's just sad to see. But you know, they had enough games out. They could look to XCOM, they could look to Mario plus Rabbids to make the right game. They just didn't nail it, so it's unfortunate. Um, we also got confirmation that Max Payne. We know that Max Payne they're in development of Max Payne, but Max Payne 1 and 2 are going to be combined into one release,
Hopefully
which
remastered.
hopefully remastered. Um, Max Payne was quite a hell of a game. Max Payne 2 was quite the hell of a sequel, and they represent a lot of childhood revelations when played for a lot of us gamers. it is nice to see them come out maybe with the double, as long as they execute it properly, because they were reporting it as a very big project, which obviously it is.
Right.
But I mean, I think I can speak for everybody when I say take your time,
Yeah.
finish that when you can.
Yep.
And Rockstar is publishing it as well, something to keep an eye on.
So it'll be 10 years from now.
Yeah, maybe 11.
A
Maybe
whole new
11.
generation of gamers can experience the crying baby level with the blood. I don't know if you remember. Oh dear lord.
That's so that was thank you for reminding me. Like I wanted to know,
Nightmares.
and like that like I wanted to know, what does a 2023 baby level look like?
Ugh.
Because that destroyed me when I was
That
a kid.
traumatized me as a child playing that game. Just that level and like having to walk on the little blood trail, and it was super skinny, and if you went too far you fell and died. Oh man, those levels were awful.
For those
I
of you
think
at home that did not play this game, it is essentially a mainly shooter game with
Yep.
some awesome Matrix-like diving that had never been done before, really, in a game the way that was done.
Yep.
And then there were just random levels that went into Max Payne's story. One of them, the baby level that Craig and I are
Yeah.
discussing, but they were like fragmented, tortured nightmares of Max Payne. So it was just it was weird levels that kind of broke up the action. So like it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'll buy that day one, 100%.
Never
Same.
played it.
You would enjoy it.
You would.
I probably would. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I had one more. Where is it? I felt the duty for any PlayStation Premium or Extra members of our pod, or at least watchers, listeners of our podcast, to just let you know that this is a pretty big month for free games. I'm gonna list them. Some of the ones that you can get if you do have premium or extra tiers of PlayStation Plus. They include Alien Isolation
Hmm?
out the gate, which is, I have never played it, but I'm also terrified to play it because
That game scares me
I
to
heard that game is
death.
scary. Yeah. Dead Island Definitive Edition, Disco Elysium: The Final Cut, Eldest
Dang.
Souls, Elite Dangerous, Far, Changing Tides, Gotham Knights, a great title to get free, as us paying people that will tell you.
Also in
Yeah.
Game Pass.
Gungrave, yeah, Gungrave Gore, Outlast
Yep.
2, Roki, and the Dark Pictures anthology, specifically House of Ashes.
It's not bad.
So like it's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice list of games. There's games I haven't played and games that I wish I hadn't played so I can get it for free. But I just felt the need as like a PSA just to announce some of those games that are
Yeah.
available till the
There's
end
some
of the
good ones
month.
in there.
Also, as a PSA, can I just throw out there somebody who tried Sekiro when it came out, and I was not into Souls-like games there. Can either Microsoft or Sony please put it on their Game Pass / PlayStation Plus, please, so I don't have to buy it, please? Because I keep checking. I always look at it, and it's always still selling for like at least $40. I don't want to do that because I know as soon as I do, it's going to show up on either PlayStation Plus or Game Pass. So
That's
can
how
you
it
just
works.
put it on there already, please? I want to
Yeah.
play it.
That's definitely that one's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
That one will frustrate you to no end. I
I'm ready.
definitely feel that.
Barry, the one boss that has the thunder transformation as the third.
Yeah.
That I wanted to break my television. I could not stand. I'm sorry. A lot of PTSD there.
No, yeah, that
Could
game
not
has a lot of
stand him.
PTSD. And speaking of games, we're going to talk about the ones we played this week.
Yes.
As you can imagine, none of us played Spider-Man 2. We loathed the
Yeah.
game. We
Scared.
didn't want to play it.
Hated it.
So all we played, at least from my end, was Sonic Superstars and Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah. I played the same 3 games as well. Spider-Man, Mario, and Sonic.
All right, subtract Sonic, and those are the
Mhm.
2 games I played.
Oh, we all played
Okay.
Mario? Sweet. I'm excited.
All right, so we'll talk about the oldest of those 3 games, I guess. We'll talk about Sonic Superstars first. As somebody who when I was younger, I loved Sonic. You know, the Sonic Adventure series, the Sonic Heroes, like that was peak Sonic for me. I never really got into
That was your
2D.
childhood?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm old.
Yeah.
You were just like, oh yeah, I grew up, and I was expecting you to say, like, yeah, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sega. Like
No, I feel so
No, no,
old.
no.
Dang
That's
it.
no,
All right.
no, no.
Dang it.
that's the 5-year difference between us right
Mhm.
there. Most
There you
definitely there.
I hate it.
go.
I think and like yeah, because my first memory of video gaming is the N64 with
Oh my
Zelda.
god.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. So you guys have an idea of where I'm at. That's my first memory. And
My,
Glover.
fir-
I don't
my
know why
first memory is
Glover.
Atari.
Yeah, nope.
Mine is Willow on Nintendo.
God.
Believe it or not.
I
I never had an Atari.
didn't either. It's just the first thing I remember playing.
Back to talking about the
Yeah.
game. Sonic Superstar. So I really like this 2D side scroller Sonic. I've played a couple different characters. I prefer to play Sonic because he goes fast. Um, but I like the different play styles that playing as Amy or Tails gives you. I like
Knuckles.
playing as like Knuckles as well. Like all three of them. Like they have a
Yeah.
different enough play style that kind of fits everybody. I think for the most part, which is something that is rare because I think for the most part in older Sonic games they all played the same. If you played as Tails, the only difference was is he had two tails,
He could
behind him.
hover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, too, music's a bop. I think the game runs very well on Switch, so I imagine it runs really good on PlayStation as well.
I was playing on
Mhm.
Xbox. It was smooth.
Yeah, the only thing that I think brings down the game a little bit, or no, two things. One, like co-op is kind of unplayable in a way. It's pretty
Okay.
much just one person running ahead, and because the game requires you to be going fast, and there isn't a lot of screen space out there, you're if one player like gets on the speed boost, you're just kind of just along for the ride there. There's not so much playing the game for this for the second player, unless excuse me, now I have hiccups. Um,
Because you went too fast.
yeah, I guess.
Gotta go fast.
Gosh darn it. But there's that, and then the whole saving of currency and buying costumes, I am really
Weird.
not the biggest fan of. I feel like you kind of missed an opportunity where, like, yes, like the amount of rings you collect helps toward the bonus score, but you could just use the rings you collect over to buy these things instead of having to collect a very specific medal in order to buy these things. I get it's for your character. I get it's to like kind of a little bit of monetization about it as well, but like those two things, like they don't bring the game down exponentially because I'm not playing with somebody else and I don't see the need for costumes, so it doesn't bother me that much. Um, Again, it really is return to form for 2D Sonic for me because I didn't play Generations and I know Generations was received very well.
Yeah.
Um, but it's nice to see like Sonic has kind of had a bounce back since his movies have come out, and I like Sonic Frontiers despite what everyone else says.
I think people are coming around on Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, it just felt like turning on my Sega, only in
Mm-hmm.
4K, you know? It looks bright and colorful. My only issue that I had that I wrote down immediately was there was so many things in a level that you could jump into and it would take you somewhere else and they don't really explain it, that I was kind of like, "Oh, what is this?" Like I jump in here and it's like, "Oh, collect an emerald." I'm like, "Okay, I know that from Sonic and
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles and Sonic 3." And then there's another one where it's like, "Oh, collect the one ups or collect the," I don't even know. There's like a million different things going on in each level and it's like information overload when I was playing it, because I'm just used to like, I'm expecting this is exactly like old school Sonic. I'm going to go super fast. There's like 8 different ways you could go in each level, which is the same here. And it looks fantastic when you're going fast. When you get speed up and you're like all over the place, it's pretty. So if you're into that, like, you're going to have a good time, but I don't think there's a whole lot there for this game though. Like it seems pretty like,
Yeah, you finish the game, and unless
yeah,
you're
and
into time trials.
yeah, what are you going to do with it afterwards? But that's old school Sonic, right? And we back
Yeah.
then we didn't care. I played through Sonic 2 a bazillion times. Did not care. Just continuously played it over and over. I
Simpler
just don't
times.
know, like, yeah, nowadays, like, do kids Are kids going to want to play this though? Do you think?
Yeah. That's a good question. I feel as though for kids as well, Sonic doesn't do a good job of onboarding people
Yeah.
like that the top area is the fastest. I really wish that the game provided you some sort of like help mode like okay, maybe the first time you clear a level like you have to go on your own and you're free to go on your own. But
Hmm.
somebody who maybe wants to enjoy the level fast, maybe give them some sort of helper, like give them some sort of trajectory route to show them
Yeah.
like okay, this is what the fast version of the level looks like. um and get them to master it, just because a lot of times for the fast portions of the game there's no indication of when there is a when there's a ledge, and if you don't
Yep.
make the ledge your entire you're now gone down to the slow like portion of the level where you're more exploring and gathering power-ups and rings. So that's where I'm that's where like I wish Sonic did a better job of like teaching new people how to play their game,
Yeah.
because those Sonic movies, they're very popular. A lot of kids are starting to get into Sonic. You probably have a lot of kids who are getting this game because it says Sonic on it. It's not Frontiers by any means. And
Right.
they're kind of like, "Oh, like this is different and I don't know if I like it or not." So, it doesn't do a good job of teaching people like, "Oh, this is how traditional Sonic is played."
I feel like if this game was like $20, I would tell everybody to buy it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, go buy this now. But is it 60
Is it,
I
or is it
think
40?
I'm
I
pretty sure
I
it was
thought it was
60.
40.
40's not bad if it was.
Yeah.
I will get the final judgment on
Okay.
this.
Like I'm not mad at it if it's 40. I just think if it drops to a 20 on sale, like 100% buy that up.
No, it's
For
60. It's 60.
Ugh.
That's a bit much. It's quite a bit.
Yeah, 40 would have been a lot more
Yeah.
yeah.
I would still recommend it at 40. I don't know that I recommend it at 60.
Just wait till Black Friday.
Yeah. 20 to $40 range, you're going to get your money's worth out of it for sure. I like the
Mhm.
boss battles, the Robotnik boss battles. I think they're fun just like the old ones were. So yeah, I mean it's a good game. It's going to get lost though right now.
Yeah.
There's just too many other games.
Speaking of other games and getting
Yeah.
lost, let's see. We'll talk about Mario Bros. Wonder here.
Yeah.
And Craig and I just went on a tangent about Sonic, so Craig, I'll let you go.
Uh, I like it to wonder. Um, so I like the rich environments. This is the first game with the new Mario, right? With the new Mario
Mhm.
voicing, correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
Spot on. Spot
Yeah, it's
on.
good.
I was kind of listening. I'm glad that it is because otherwise I was listening for no reason. So yeah. But what I like about the game, obviously you have your classic Mario issue where, Bowser's doing something. He be bowsing,
Yep.
you know. The level design is great. I do like the overworld traversal, reminds me of kind of like a Super Mario World kind of thing. And I mean, it was I guess what I wanna say is the fun that I was having because I was doing co-op with my wife, the fun that
Mhm.
I was having was as expected based off of what they showed us in the trailers. The level design to start, and then when you approach a opportunity to turn it into what I'm calling the wonder trigger, that's the only thing I'm calling it,
Yeah.
just to describe it. It changes every level's dynamic and makes it more fast-paced, fun, and colorful. And I really like that. I really like what they've done there. I think it's a very safe Mario because it's kind of just hitting all of the points that you would expect in a 2D. And I don't know. I love it. I think we played maybe about 2 or 3 hours, so we're not far into it. We
Mhm.
essentially played it because we didn't get Spider-Man the night that or sorry, we did get Spider-Man, but
That
between two people,
install.
yeah, between two people loading Spider-Man on there, especially one digital edition because I had to do the frickin' digital. Um, but yeah, in any case, I really like it. First takes are great. What did you guys think?
Um do you think that I was trying to switch between characters. Playing as like any of the Yoshis, you just don't get power-ups?
They explain
Yes.
it
Yeah,
It's
in the
they
weird.
Yeah, they did say that the Yoshis, like there is a certain class of characters where the
Mhm.
Yoshis, Nabbit, I believe as
Yes,
well, are like
that's the other
easy
one.
mode
Okay.
for for Mario, and then the rest of the characters are regular. Which, like, I'll be the first one to say, like, if you want to play as Yoshi, like, make like the original Yoshi, or just allow it toggle. Like, this should be a thing that's you can toggle on and off.
Mhm.
In a way, that's what I wish. Is that, and I'll let you go, Craig, because you were talking before.
No, I was just like when you first start the game and it's like pick your character and I was like, "Oh, I haven't gotten to play as just Yoshi in a long time. I'm going to do that." And then as I went through like the first two levels, I was like, "Oh, I can collect these power-ups, but they don't do anything." So I just switched back to Mario and I was like, because you want to play as like the elephant power-up
Hmm.
and all that stuff, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of a bummer to me that like maybe he can't turn into an elephant, but like maybe you get the Yoshi that spits fireballs or something, you know?" It was just kind of interesting choice to not give them any power ups. So I'm just like, oh, I guess I'm going to play the game as Mario, or I'm not going to play as Luigi. I hate playing as Luigi, but maybe I just play as Mario.
Yeah,
But
it's
other than
it's a
that,
trade off.
other than that, like I think it's great. I'm having a blast. It's a good 2D Mario. Um, I don't really have any complaints other than the Yoshi thing.
It's weird. You take damage, but you don't get the power up. Like I
Yeah.
remember reading that and being like, "Oh, okay." And like my wife wanted to be Yoshi, so she was like, "Well, I guess I'm being Luigi now." Or
Yep.
I forget who she picked. I think it was Luigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, just my thoughts on it are, I agree with everyone else. This game is like, it's good, it's fantastic. I think for the most part, what adds to it is because we're in a different world with different enemies. There's this little bit of a learning curve that we're not familiar with Mario for a while. We've known what Goombas do. Goombas are
Mhm.
in the game, but there are also a ton of other different enemies that are requiring you to like approach them with a bit more caution than
Yeah.
everything else. We knew what Koopas do, what the rest of the Mario enemy does. There's just so many new ones that you're like, okay, there's one that runs away from me and spits apples, kind of deal there.
Yeah.
There's another one that like flies directly in front of you. There's another one that gets big, like really tall when it tries to swallow you. So there's all of these really cool options for like just different enemies that we haven't seen in Mario games in a long time. And I can't understate like the impression I've gotten so far of the Wonder Fruit. Like, it
Mhm.
is a fun thing to not know what's going to happen. Like, it's definitely going to wear off after you've done all of the Wonder Fruit stuff. But as far as I've been into the game, the Wonder Fruit has done something different every time.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I like that just because there's something unexpected almost in all of the levels that you
Yeah.
can kind of get. There's there's even points where they're like singing, like legitimately,
Yeah.
like it's not like something's trying to attack you or you're going to collect something. A bunch of enemies just start singing the song. And it's like,
Yeah, that was
what
dope.
is this?
I remember that
It
level.
felt
That
like
was
a
dope.
Rayman game
Exactly.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
that point.
it's
Yeah.
it's fun to see kind of the different takes that they're doing with Wonder Fruit. And the last thing that I'll praise the game for is there's such like attention to the little things now. Um when you're like, I play as Peach, like when you're the elephant, like you squeeze through the tube instead of just popping right into it, or you force
Yeah.
yourself down it. Um when you're the elephant, it's just like everyone is so expressive,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
like in a Mario game we haven't really seen, but apparently, and I watched a video on it, like this game, like they were allowed to add so many more models to Mario because instead of making him just like a 2D side scroller, his character is actually 3D, and they're able to like make him do these kind of moves in a 2D world. Um,
Right.
I like going into the levels and not expecting stuff, not expecting everything that I know. It's a fun game, and
And it looks good.
yeah,
Yeah. If I
yeah. Talk about two colorful games for the Switch, like bright, pretty games. Sonic and Mario. Those are your two go tos.
yeah.
Mhm.
If I may add for the people who are trying, I just sorry I forgot this. For
Mhm.
anybody who's trying to play multiplayer, it's also pretty forgiving. You guys were talking about Sonic when you get ahead of somebody, like what happens and like how that kind of throws off the multiplayer in this game. If you do run far from your partner, the ghost of your partner off screen actually moves towards you and like you can kind of collect them and get them back. So it's like almost like a way that if you're too far behind, all you have to do is like if you're that character, you just move towards the person who walked farther ahead, and then you just appear with the same power up that you had. So you don't lose anything for
Yeah.
getting lost. That's a nice mulligan as well, if I may
Mhm.
add.
Yeah.
Because it is sometimes difficult to play with, that kind of game with more than one person.
I have like wartime flashbacks with Mario and multiplayer and getting my head
Mhm.
jumped on and getting
Oh
pushed
Mhm.
into
man, yeah.
pits. So it's good that it's not necessarily doing that again. Like those are some fun times, but also some frustrating times when you go
Of
to make a
course.
jump and
Yep.
somebody's like, boop, you're dead.
Yeah.
And then you're floating in the bubble and they don't hit you to collect you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
frustrating.
Alrighty then. The moment that we've kept everybody waiting for. Impressions on Spider-Man 2. I I will not go into spoilers. I don't
Yeah,
think really any of us are too far per
right.
se to get into major. Oh, you're
He
in it.
put some
Oh, you
time in,
are.
huh?
Yeah, you. D-
Yeah. Because we weren't able to play it Friday night, there are like 5 games a year that my wife will wake up and play and go to sleep and play and wake up and play. Because of that, I follow suit and I play more than I usually do.
Fair.
That is this game.
So
Are
how
you
many
double
hours?
digits into Spider-Man yet?
We are at mission 20, main mission 20 of 31.
Woo, you're
So I would
flying.
say 16 to 20 hours. We did a couple of 2, 3 a.m.s, 3
You're
a.m.ers.
flying, man.
Yeah.
I think
All
I'm at
right.
like 3 or 2
Yeah,
hours.
same here. So you got to be careful. You have to
Yeah.
be
I
careful
will.
here to not
No
spoil it.
Most
spoilers.
definitely.
No
Most definitely.
spoilers. Um,
Yeah.
what hasn't already been said about Spider-Man 2 that we can't say? Like just overall, it is an evolution of the first game. Really, the
Mhm.
only thing I can ding it for is that combat is very, very much similar to the last game. Um, they added a parry, which is a cool little addition to just flipping and dodging everything. Um,
Yep.
it is cool there. I do like how they have the powers and the tech kind of mapped to your L1, R1, and then face button.
Yep.
Um, the only thing I guess I don't like about that is I was okay in Spider-Man 1 and and Miles Morales where time would slow down. You could pick your weapon and use it, and then pick another one like and time would slow down. I didn't mind that, just because it kind of gave you time to set up what you wanted to set up in a rough situation or in a fast paced one. Whereas now, like what you have on your gadgets is what you stick with. And now there's a cooldown for
Yeah.
a lot of them as well. But I will let you guys talk about the game before I go on to too much of a
On
of more.
like branching off of that, I didn't use gadgets. I used them rarely in the first game and Miles
Mhm.
because of that reason. I just felt like they were a nuisance to use. And in this one, because they're easier to use, I use them all the time,
Okay.
which is what they
Yeah.
want. They want you to do that. So I'm always like, I feel every combat situation, I feel really good because I'm like doing a combo, sliding underneath them, throwing a gadget, doing the venom punch, doing the triangle circle finishing move, and it just looks like I'm watching a Marvel movie, which is fantastic. Every time I'm fighting, I'm literally sitting there and be like, man, this looks incredible.
Mhm.
Every single time. Which is crazy. And I'm at this point in the year, I'm so tired of having my top 3 figured out, and then another game comes out and I'm like, dang it, here we go again. Now I got to rearrange everything. But it's like
Yeah.
from the jump when you start the game, the intro tutorial mission, you're like, oh, okay, this is like we're swinging for the fences. And everybody knows like I prefer to play my games on Xbox, and like I have a smaller TV that my Xbox is hooked up to, but it is a nice TV, right? 4K, all that, like it was the best one that I could get in a smaller version, but still nothing compares like a game how it looks to when I am playing a Sony exclusive on my Sony TV. It just like it's just above what I'm playing on my Xbox, which
Mhm.
is crazy every time. God of War, Spider-Man, um, Demon Souls. Like, you know what I mean? It's like every time I'm like, whew, this looks pretty. It just looks pretty. Trying to think, messing with the swing mechanics and the settings is crazy to me. Like, I really could dial in how I wanted it to feel. The new like launch of yourself is crazy.
Yes.
I didn't think I would like the websuit, but that feels good. I don't know why. I know the fast travel where you just like pick a spot on the map and it's like boop, you're there. I
No
haven't even
reason
used
to.
it. I
Yeah,
haven't
but
even
There's no
used
why?
it.
reason to.
Yeah.
I have
There's
so
no
much fun
reason.
just like, and you can go so fast that you just don't need it.
Yeah.
Switching from Peter to Miles is like boop, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. Uh yeah, I have to rethink my life and my top 5 now, and I hate it. And I'm only 3 hours in. So unless they completely fumble the ending, which doesn't seem like they do, this is going to be a tough year for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to rethink my top 5 as well.
Mhm.
Um, like kind of building off some of the things you guys said. Yeah, like the fast travel thing, I was wondering what it was gonna be like trying to cross districts
Mhm.
or and the swings that they have or the little like swing pads that you can launch yourself across the water. I slowly realized, quickly realized how easy it is just to traverse. I'm a big fan of the web wings. I usually, when I'm swinging through the city, I do a combination where I kind of go do the web wings for a bit, catch an updraft, get a little bit of height, go back to swinging, let myself dip a little bit for momentum. Like there's a synchronization and there's a level of control that when you start really like getting further into the game, you almost feel like a wizard, like a swinging wizard. And
Yeah.
like it's crazy because like in the beginning, I wanted to play like more as Miles because Miles actually felt lighter
Mhm.
in his swinging motions because he's obviously younger and like weighs less than Spider-Man. And I was like, I remember going to my wife and I'm like, Spider-Man seems like heavy. Like Peter Parker, sorry, seems
Mhm.
heavy. And he's not. It's just the swing animations, and I was also still learning how to do that, like how to get back into web swinging throughout the city again. So like, there's no reason to fast travel. Plus, all the stuff that you find for not doing it is very rewarding.
Yeah.
What I like about this game, without spoiling anything, is pacing. Um, they pace, and introducing characters, introducing villains, introducing locations, introducing all of these different things. They do a nice job of having a mission that is heavily involved with fighting, you know, and you go to a couple of locations, maybe there's a chase scene, whatever. And then they'll go to like a nice easy one where maybe there's a non-super person involved, just to not ruin it. You
Mhm.
probably can guess who I'm talking about. There's a non-super person level, and then they'll go back to something else that's more story driven. They do a wonderful job of switching between Miles and Peter. I feel like neither one has had more or a terribly more spotlight than the other one. The synchronization between the two and having this where it's a Miles level, so you got to switch to Miles. You know, it's a Peter mission. Same thing with the side missions. They divvy those up too. So yeah, they have to be Miles to do certain missions, which is customary to his character and where he's going educationally. And then you have more Peter versioned side missions where you just have to very quickly change, and then they do it, and it's just so quick.
Yeah.
Um, if there's a critique, and I don't find this one that bad, but I know there's somebody out there that's probably critiquing it, is like there may be not enough bosses for people or
Okay.
what feels like boss moments. Um,
To, to
it
be
doesn't
to be fair, I have heard that the end of the game is pretty boss heavy.
that's prop then that has to be what it is
Yeah.
because
And that they're
you know,
very tough. I don't know who they are. I've seen in multiple reviews, non-spoiler reviews, that they're like, yeah, that back like I think they said like 4 or 5 last missions is like
it's the Elite
really
Four.
really tough. Yeah, boss battles, and I'm like, okay. So maybe
Yeah.
that's where they're pushing them all to.
Yeah. And then, they're doing a lot. They're doing very interesting things with the antagonists. There's a lot of like not Easter eggs, but call outs to other Spider-Man games. Where are they nows with people that you've defeated in other Spider-Man games? Um, the locations are great. So very quickly, I grew up with my mom's side of the family primarily being in New York City. They all have since retired. Oh, a lot of them have retired and moved to different areas, but there used to be my Aunt Louise and Uncle Milton that I used to go to when I was younger. And it was like maybe once a month, once every 2 months, my mom would play Pinochle. She would play, and where my Aunt Louise and Uncle Milton was in one of the large project housing buildings that was across the street from Coney Park. I, as a 35-year-old male, were able to find what it was essentially in the game, the adjacent or about what that building was, and
That's
I
cool.
was like, Leanne, let me show you where I used to go because
That's
they were
cool.
really cool. They were really cool apartment buildings because you had to go outside. They had like a lot of fencing to not so you wouldn't fall off 26 stories. But when you left an elevator, there would be like it. So it was like almost a not an exact recreation of the building, but pretty spot on.
Hmm.
And that's like the thing that this game can do. Like, like what if you've been to New York once, or if you lived there? I hear if you live there, you may not like it as much because they can't be perfect
Right.
with it.
Yeah.
But like Statue of Liberty, all of the trademark stuff that you would find, Central Park looks great. It looks
Yep.
great, and I
Coney
think that's
Island.
Coney Island. Coney
Yeah.
Island looks great.
Yep.
Um, And I really think that there's the love and tenderness that the game is able to provide that really makes it stand out. Last thing about pacing, side missions, oh, they listen to us. I don't think the side missions are not only well paced out in how they're introduced, but a lot of them can be so done on the fly and they're interesting. Um, there's one I'll have to when you guys reach one with a man and his pigeons, that's all I'm going to say. You got to tell me about that one. They're also heartfelt. There's ones dedicated to Miles that are specifically Miles. I mean, again, related. And then there's the standard fetch quests that don't feel like fetch quests or like collectibles, I should say.
Hmm.
It's just great. It's great. And there's enough. There's never too much to do. And I think the size of the map is perfect as well.
Yeah. It
Um,
feels just big enough. Not too
yeah.
big.
I like a lot of it, man. I
Yeah.
like a lot of it, guys, and I can't wait to see what the last remaining portion of it is. I can't put it down. It's hard to put it down. So
Yeah.
they did a great job.
It's pretty close to a masterpiece, I think. I think that's fair to say. Um I I think the complaints I have are so minor at this point that like man, it's for sure a top 5 game. It has to be. It just when I think back at everything else that came out this year, this is a good year.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's a
It's a
strong year.
crazy good year, and I wasn't so sure when the year started, but man, we're
Back in
getting near the
Hogwarts.
end, and I'm like, yeah, like Hogwarts was my game of the year at the beginning
And
of the year. I was like, nothing tops this
Mine too.
game, and now I'm like, is that even top 5?
No.
I don't even know anymore. I hate it. I hate that we have to do this. They're all
last
winners.
Stuff.
yeah, last thing I will say, I should have put this in video game news because it happened earlier this morning and I forgot. Marvel has promised to fix Insomniac has promised to fix the Cuban flag that is in Miles' home when he is Puerto Rican. Both
Oops.
flags are very close, I will admit, to each other, but over the past, especially this morning, there's been a lot of news about how could they get this wrong
Mhm.
again. It They will get it right. Yes, the flag is wrong. It's literally inverse. Like the red and the blue literally change, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for whichever developer probably is getting reamed out for this right
Yep.
now. Or
You had
whichever.
one job.
Yeah,
That's
the developer getting attacked that doesn't need to be, but
Right.
can we get a
it.
patch just for that and that be in the
I think
developer
that's what
notes?
they're
That would be
trying.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Next time you turn your
Can you fix-
PlayStation on, that's what it's going to be.
How long does that patch take to download?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah, hopefully, but yeah, that is news. That is news with this game that Miles is Puerto Rican, but it is a Cuban flag that is shown throughout the game. So keep that in mind. It's a little funny, but also people take it too seriously. Just
Yeah.
they're gonna fix it. We'll give them time. They'll fix it. But anything else anybody else has to say about Spider-Man 2?
Nope. I want to keep playing it.
We probably
Nah.
will do a spoiler cast once we all finish it.
Oh, please.
Sounds like Craig will have to do a solo one because he's going to be done with it like weeks before we even.
It's
I
so
think he
good.
will too. Plus, Alan
It's
Wake's
so
coming
good.
this week. So
Yeah.
Yes.
and Call of Duty.
Oh my God.
And then with that being said, we'll talk about movies and TV shows that we watched this week. The only thing I watched finally was Totally Killer on Amazon
Yes.
Prime.
I watched Saw 10, Saw X, and I watched Ballerina on Netflix.
Okay. This is fitting because of the long Spider-Man rant that I had. I really didn't watch anything.
I'm not
so-
surprised.
Yeah. When you put that many hours, yeah,
Yep,
you
not surprised.
you eat, sleep, play Spider-Man. That's what you did.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Barry, what's the last game you did that for? I feel like you did one not too long ago.
Ooh.
What was it that you were like woke
Was
up,
it
played?
16?
It might have been Final Fantasy. I feel like there was something else
Yeah.
though, that I'm thinking of that you were like, was it Horizon? No, it wasn't Horizon.
I
What
know,
was it?
like I know for our Ragnarok one, I like
Maybe
you guys
that's
were
what I'm
all
thinking of.
done, and then
Yep.
I blew through it on a weekend. Yeah,
That
Oh,
was
you
probably-
did.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah, that's what it was.
Ragnarok.
yeah, it was
Yep.
probably Ragnarok. But I know I did. I also played a lot of Final Fantasy 16 when it first came out.
So did I.
I think we all kind of rushed
Yeah.
that game a decent amount. But enough about that.
Yep.
Yeah, so for me, I'll talk about Totally Killer. It's the older of the two. Again, this Craig mentioned it. I do love this movie. It is
Yes.
it is a baby's first little time. It's not even really jump scary, to be honest. It is just a fun time travel movie that makes references to other time travel movies. And I feel like they just nail so much of the like the mass killer portion of things. When she gets transported to the 80s, I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah.
And Craig mentioned it in his review last week. Like, her best friend is making a time machine. Why? Because her mother apparently created plans of it.
Yep.
And she decided she's going to be the one to perfect it. Like, what?
Yep. That's all
Because
you need.
your impression of the best friend's mom is that she doesn't care. Like, she's
Yep.
just like, yeah, whatever. But it turns out she's actually really smart and the only one really accepting of the whole time travel thing when the daughter goes back. And the mother being a complete biatch is just so much fun.
Yes.
I love that dynamic. It nails the whole 80s aspect, I feel like. From somebody who wasn't born in the 80s, but kind of wishes they
Stop
were.
making me feel old, Barry.
Yeah,
God.
seriously.
Especially in my taste in music.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm a man out of time in a lot of ways.
Soundtrack's
So-
killer in that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
All you got to say is 80s.
Yep.
It's just too bad. Like it feels like it's the same thing. What I feel like with a Shotgun Wedding with Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel. I just feel like the original movies on Amazon Prime don't get enough credit for what they do.
Yep.
They are fun. They are lighthearted. Sometimes I don't always want to be on the edge of my seat, stressing about what's going to happen to a character. Like this is fun. I love Totally Killer for the fact that I sat down, I laughed. It also kind of makes you tense up a little bit sometimes, especially the beginning, when but then there's a fight sequence with the mom.
Yes.
That was great. Like it was all so much fun, and I didn't think the Modern Family mom could pull that off as well as she did, but she did it. It's
And
so much for
the killer's mask is modeled after the Max Headroom.
yeah,
If
exactly.
you know
yeah.
Max Headroom from back in the day. It's just great.
Yeah, there's so much to like about this movie that it's only like rated 4 stars on Amazon Prime. It deserves more than that. I will probably watch this movie again. So at some point before the end of the year, just because I had so much fun with it. It is, it's just I feel like we don't get enough movies like this anymore. Um,
Yeah.
all movies are trying to like, especially take for example the Who Killed the Hidden Wallflower movie that recently came out that looks like it's gonna bore me to tears or
Yeah, but
like bore me to
everybody's saying
sleep.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's a 3.5 hour movie.
Yep.
Sometimes I just want to enjoy myself.
Yeah. I mean, that movie will be in my Halloween rotation every year going forward.
Hmm.
100%. It's a
Mm.
great Halloween movie that everybody can watch, whether you despise horror movies or not.
You would, and this is coming from me, you'd have to be really like, I can't stand horror, like
Yeah.
to do this. Like the slightest jump scare attempt, like gets you to freak out. Like
True. True.
you'd really have to be skittish in order to not like this movie if you're not a horror guy. I got through it.
That's 2 thumbs up from Barry, by the way. He
Yes, two
doesn't like
thumbs up.
horror movies.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Ooh,
So
absolutely.
take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Two butcher knives up for horror.
2 butcher knives up.
Yep. I don't have any knives near me, so I can't put them
Yeah, no jackknife 3000s here.
All right, so I'll start with Saw X. I have watched all the Saw movies. I enjoy most of them. There's some stinkers in there, but for the most
There
part, they're
are.
pretty good. Jigsaw is a cool killer. Kind of threw me for a loop. This is a little bit longer than most Saw movies are, and the first half of it, there's like none of the Saw that we've come to expect. It's more of like it's a setup towards the back half of the movie, which is where all like the creative traps are at. In terms of Saw likes to jump around in their timeline a lot. This would go before the first movie. So they keep finding ways to bring
That's
Jake's.
confusing.
They've done it
Yeah.
before too.
Yeah, they have.
The problem is you have a good actor playing a good villain. And in what was it, like the second or third movie he dies, I think.
Yeah.
Third, maybe.
It's like 3rd.
So they've been ever since like, how do we keep bringing him back in movies if he's dead? Their solution for this one is let's go back before the first one, and surprisingly it works. What's crazy is you have, for those who don't know, the whole purpose of the Saw movies was the main character has brain cancer, and he's dying, so he makes traps to put people in to get them to, I don't know, what's a good way to put it, repent from their ways of how they're living. What's weird is this movie, the way it's written is you're rooting for him, which is interesting. But the same Saw stuff's here. Some of the, like, one of the very first of the second half, one of the very first traps is, it's been a first time in a while where I've watched it and I went, "Ugh." You know what I mean? Like, you get that from Saw a lot where it's gross.
Yeah. A
But the
certain
first
one.
one, I was like, oh dear God, like they went for it. I liked it though. I thought it was done well. It's an interesting take on a Saw movie to have you rooting for Jigsaw, I guess. Um, and I think it's a good step in the right direction if they want to keep making movies in the Saw universe, because they got way out in the weeds when they got in some of the later Saw movies. And I think this
Yeah,
is a good way to get you back on track with what a good horror movie is. We're all there for the crazy traps, and there's crazy traps in this one. I don't know how they keep coming up with creative ways to kill people. There's some sick people writing these movies, I'll tell you that much.
yeah.
There really are. But overall, like, I think it's a good movie. It's a solid 7 out of 10. It just,
That's better.
it threw me for a loop with the first half, and I'm like, oh, this is like, there's no kills going on. It's just like we're learning about Jigsaw as a person. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's a good way to take it, I guess. But then Ballerina on Netflix. So this is a Korean movie, so you're gonna have to watch with subtitles. But man, do they keep making crazy good movies? And I don't know why people aren't paying more attention. This is think of it as like a John Wick with a female lead, is probably the
I'm
best
in.
way to put it.
I'm in.
There is a girl who, her friend is a ballerina, and she gets killed by a group of people who are kidnapping and trafficking women. That's the premise. And her friend dies, and she goes on a rampage. She is like I don't know that they ever really explain how she became trained, but she is like firearm martial arts trained. And man, if some of these fight scenes aren't just choreographed like perfectly, the music, the very first, like you start the movie, the first 5 minutes, and the fight scene they put her in with the music behind it, I'm just like, I'm in. That's all I needed. Like, so stylish, so cool. And they just kind of let her go in the movie. Like, she's just gonna go kill a million people. You're rooting for her because the people she's killing are just like the worst type of human beings out there. But the story itself is good. The story behind it is enough to propel you to keep watching. I know I've said it before, but like I'm almost annoyed that people sleep on Korean movies because they keep putting out incredible movies, horror movies, action movies.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're not paying more attention and why they're not getting elevated up other than you have to read. I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
But man, they are putting out some crazy good movies. So that one is 100%. Go watch that as soon as you can. It might end up in my top 10. It might. There's a lot of good movies this year, so I don't know, but I loved every second of that movie.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna find
Yes.
out.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, what is it on right now?
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Netflix?
Yep.
What about Saw? Is Saw you just have to buy?
Yeah, that's a digital rental right now.
Okay.
That's up to you if you think $20 is worth it. You know what I mean? Like that you have to kind of weigh that. Is it worth $20? I mean, if you're looking for something to watch for Halloween, sure. Or I don't know. It's going to be
I
on
don't celebrate
streaming
Halloween.
something eventually, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if
most
that's a
definitely.
Yeah.
Paramount thing or
I think
Peacock or
it's a
something.
Max. I only think Max because I think they threw Spiral on Max.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So you may see it on Max in another couple weeks, maybe right after or right before Halloween next week. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
We'll see.
yeah, that's what I watched.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast there, guys. I thank you all for listening. Please make sure if you did like the podcast that you review it on your podcast listening platform of choice and share it with your friends if you feel so inclined. For those who are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe. Uh, I'd appreciate if anybody comments about what they think about their time with Spider-Man, Super Mario, or Sonic, or if there's like a hidden game that we missed the next couple weeks. It may be a good idea to tell us because we're going to be
Yeah.
busy. We're going to be busy with Spider-Man and the rest of these other games. So I thank again everybody for listening and supporting us. I appreciate it, and you all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.